And just literally in the past couple of minutes, new polling out of the key state of Iowa, first caucus in the nation, and it has more good news for Donald Trump as well as Dr. Ben Carson. The latest poll coming in to us from Monmouth University shows the two candidates that are now tied for the lead, and they are well ahead of the next tier of candidates. Those two candidates on the top are Dr. Ben Carson and Donald Trump. That second tier, Carly Fiorina, Ted Cruz, Scott Walker, and Jeb Bush. Joining us now, Bret Baier, anchor of Special Report. Bret, is this as stunning as it seems that all of a sudden the two top guys in Iowa are political novices and never done it before?
Well, we've seen this trend starting to take hold over the past couple of weeks about outsiders. Clearly, Donald Trump has done well in a number of state polls and nationally. He's now leading in all four of the early states, if you look at all of the state polls. But what we've seen over the last two polls, which is significant, is a pretty big surge, Leland, for Dr. Ben Carson, who has quietly been adding up support in each of these early states and nationally. Dr. Carson now has a favorability rating in this new Monmouth poll of 81%. That is pretty unheard of when you talk about politicians on any side. And in another poll, the Des Moines Register poll, also very well respected in Iowa, has a favorability of 79%. So Dr. Ben Carson is seeing a surge, but Trump is still holding on to a lead across the nation.
Unheard of in terms of the positive numbers. Sticking with Iowa, though, at one point we were all talking about Scott Walker, the governor of Wisconsin, sort of the darling child of the Midwest who had taken on the unions. And his fall in the polls in Iowa has been quick, and it's almost been silent. Take a listen to him on Meet the Press yesterday addressing that.
All right. Caucuses are February 1st. First Sunday in February is the Super Bowl. Who's got a better shot, you in Iowa or Aaron Rodgers in the Super Bowl?
Well, that's a tough call. I'm probably, as a Packers fan, more likely the Packers, but I'm hoping I can do both.
And looking at the Monmouth University poll right now, he is now just at 7%. Scott Walker there, as we've seen everyone else surge to the top. I guess, Bret, what I'm looking at is that you have to ask, not only was it sort of clever the way that Chuck Todd asked that question, but it was interesting to see Scott Walker in some ways sort of concede, well, guess what, I may not win.
Yeah, he's always said that he needs to finish in the top three in the early states, but Iowa is really seen as his linchpin for his campaign. And to see this precipitous drop, he's dropped 15 points in recent weeks in Iowa alone, and others have surged. Trump is up 10, Carson up 15. In third place is Carly Fiorina, who's seen a surge of her own since our Fox News Facebook debate.
So the horse race is always a great thing to talk about. You look at the national polls, obviously you have Donald Trump still on the top, but we took a look back in terms of where the polls were at this time in both 2011 and 2008. This time in 2011, we would have all been talking about President Rick Perry there at the top of the polls. In 2008, it would have been either President Giuliani or perhaps President Fred Thompson. The guy who ended up winning the nomination, John McCain, was all the way down at 7%, full 23 points below Rudy Giuliani. I guess the question is now, in the bigger picture, do the polls right now matter either in Iowa or nationally?
Well, they create momentum. They create moments ahead of these debates. You're right. Things can change. We have a long way to go before the Republicans pick their nominee or for the general election. But what we are seeing now is the summer of discontent, the summer of anti-establishment, anti-Washington. Anybody who's not tied to any politician is doing well, and also authenticity is driving the day. So whether that holds, and we expect it to hold for at least the short term, I think this could be a different race than we've seen before.
Well, stunning in every way. We'll see you tonight at 6 o'clock to break it all down on Special Report. Thanks, Bret.
Thanks, Leland.